Hey everybody, welcome back to Inside the Force. Dave Cottingham here with Hannah Burr. Hannah, how are you?
I'm doing well, and how are you?
Good.
Good.
We got part 4 of Ahsoka
Yes.
to talk about. This is going to be very interesting. Lots happened in this episode. We're halfway through now of Ahsoka, only 4 episodes left, and next week is just going to be so crazy.
Insane.
But we'll get into all of that. First and foremost, thanks to our patrons, as always. So grateful for you. Thank you for your support. In fact, as part of being a patron, you get a welcome message, and we want to welcome a brand new patron. And I read his email off of his feedback for the Mandalore podcast. So I want to thank him for coming, obviously listening to us. He goes by the name of Darth S&M. S-N-M, like you're saying, like he actually sent me a message and told me how to say it. So Darth S&M. And again, thanks for listening to obviously both shows, us and The Mandalore, and thanks you for contributing to this. Hope we continue the conversations. We actually got you got a comment here on our last reaction video, so we'll mention that later. But yes, thank you again to all of our patrons. We really, yes.
And I would also just really like to know what inspired the name Dart S&M. I would love to know what inspired that.
Okay. Yeah.
Personally, anyway.
Oh, actually, I think he did say that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. How did he say it? I think his initials are S and M. So, yeah, he says, by the way, my name is pronounced just like you would say the letters S and M, because he spells it E-S-I-N-E-M. And in short, it's his initials. Instead of using and, he chose N. So S and M.
Okay. Never mind then.
He says he stole the ideas from the candy M&M and then the rapper M&M, right? So S and M. It's very clever. It's very good.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, so into real quick news besides Ahsoka. I just wanted to say that I saw something today that says there's a brand new book that was announced, an adult novel that's coming from John Jackson Miller, who is he's a longtime Star Wars writer. For those of you that remember, a while ago, he wrote a non-canon book of Obi-Wan Kenobi that was very popular. I think it was just called Kenobi, and it was basically during his time, on A New Hope, very similar to his time on the show. I didn't read it, obviously, because it wasn't canon, so I didn't get into it, and I wasn't really reading those books at the time. But I heard about it. It's very popular, and I think John Jackson also contributed to some of those 40th anniversary novels, New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. But anyway, his book is coming out. It's called Star Wars: The Living Force. Mm-hmm. And it takes place about a year before episode 1. Now, the cover is pretty neat because it's just basically filled with Jedi. Yoda's really prominent on it. You've got Mace Windu. You've got Yaddle, Plo Koon, Keanu Mundi, Ali Galia. I can't remember his name, but and then it's Caleb Doom's master. It starts with a B. It's a B. I can't remember. Anyway, filled with some Jedi on there. The whole cover is Jedi, so it's about obviously the Force, and I think there's a little description here. Yeah, description is in the year before the Phantom Menace, Yoda Mace Windu and the entire Jedi Council confront a galaxy on the brink of change. The Jedi have always traveled the stars, defending peace and justice across the galaxy, but the galaxy is changing, and along with it, the Jedi Order. More and more, the Order finds itself focused on the future of the Republic, saluted on Coruscant, where the 12 members of the Jedi Council weigh crisis on the galactic scale. On yet another Jedi outpost left over from the Republic's Golden Age is set to be decommissioned on the planet Quinn. Qui-Gon Jinn challenges the Council about the increasing isolation of the Order. Mace Windu suggests a bold response. All 12 Jedi Masters will embark on a goodwill mission to help the planet and remind the people of the galaxy that the Jedi remain a stalwart and present as they have been across the ages. But the arrival of the Jedi leadership is not seen by all as a cause for celebration. Warring pirate factions have infested the sector in the increasing absence of the Jedi. To maintain their dominance, the pirates unite, intent on assassinating the Council, and they are willing to destroy countless innocent lives to secure their power. Cut off from Coruscant, the Jedi Masters must reckon with an unwelcome truth that while no one thinks more about the future than the Jedi Council, nobody needs their help more than those living in the present. So that's who I think. 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, so all 12 are on the cover. Interesting.
Very cool.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that one. And it is coming out April 9th, 2024. So there you go. New book all about the Jedi. Okay, we got to talk about Ahsoka Part 4. And what a crazy episode this was.
Absolutely.
First off, we know from the last episode, the setup there, they made the Cetos. They know where the base is. So now it's just that there's going to be a collision here between Ahsoka and Sabine, and of course Baylan and Shin, and the whole thing that's going on there. So overall, Hannah, what's your feelings about this episode?
Here we go is all I gotta say. Here we go. This was the episode that I feel like we've been waiting for. This has been the hook. This is the okay, now we're moving, which part of me is excited about, because obviously that means, what's going to happen next? There are a lot of unknowns. We don't necessarily know what direction this is going. But at the same time, I'm like, why did we have to wait this long for the here we go moment? And I know part of it is because we have to set up these characters. We have to set up a bit of a relationship and a bit of history that nobody knows about. For some people who haven't seen Rebels, who haven't seen the Clone Wars or anything like that, they might be a little bit behind with regards to who Ahsoka is, who Hera is, who Sabine is. So it's quickly telling that, but then also quickly letting you know, oh, by the way, here's some other background information that nobody knows about yet. So, but overall, I mean, the ending of the episode, I have yet to find anybody who is disappointed to see Hayden Christensen there.
I know it.
Everybody's excited. I love the fact that he calls her Snips. Heck yes. We also, we know Thrawn's on his way, and we know they can't be followed. Like, there's just a lot that happens in this episode, and it's a lot to digest. And even after watching it again, it's still so much to digest and to understand what's going on. And the fact that we end in the world between worlds, it's like, is she dead? Is she not dead? Like, what's going on? Are we going to go back in time? Or are we going to go forward in time? Is she going to be able to, like, just appear where Sabine is? Where Thrawn is? Like, what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's tough. This one is tough.
Yeah, what are your immediate thoughts?
Well, I obviously I'm echoing a lot of people that I've seen, especially on Twitter, that have responded saying, I mean, some people are saying this is the best Star Wars they've seen ever.
In recent years, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I think, and there wasn't a lot to this episode, obviously. There was just a lot of fighting, but there were a lot of strong moments, a lot of, there was some surprises, which we'll get to that. Marok being one. And then you've got the fact that they did jump to hyperspace, and the fact that whatever happened to Ahsoka, Sabine's decision, it's like there's a lot in there that I felt like puts you in a position to, I think you thought one thing, but then something else happened,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think what makes good storytelling. And Filoni's really knocked it out in the park on this, and I get it. I think you're right. I think you can argue. In fact, I was texting a real good buddy of mine that has actually worked on back in the Clone Wars shows, and he mentioned, I love it, but I gotta say that the pacing's a little slow and the pacing's a little off on some things. So I get that, but I think I think that goes with trying to stretch out episodes and just fill it with, make it 30, 40 minutes where you probably could pace these out to be only 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But that's just part of putting content out, and you got to fill the time slots and stuff like that. So,
well, if they did 20 minutes, we get more episodes.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe not. If you're kind of adding more later, maybe But who wants to see only 6 episodes, right? You want 8 to 10 to 12 episodes. So I think it's fine. I think I think majority of Star Wars fans really love these characters. They really gravitated towards. It's amazing how much people loved the Clone Wars and were so excited when it came back. But I can see, and you can see it now too, especially, there were a lot of fans of Rebels and a lot of fans of Hera and Sabine and Ezra. And of course, everybody loves Ahsoka. I don't know anybody that doesn't like Ahsoka.
There's a lot of Chopper fans out there too, actually.
Yeah, it's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. So this episode really, it really just ties it back into the Rebel series when Ezra went missing. Because now, like you said, here we go. We're on our way to maybe finding Ezra, maybe figuring out how. Obviously, I think we're figuring out how Thrawn's going to be back here. So it's very good, and I found myself. I think I watched it 3 times by now, and it's not getting better for me. It's not getting worse for me. It's just a really, really good, enjoyable episode that has a lot to, like you said, a lot to dissect.
Absolutely. There is one thing though that I feel like kind of needs to be addressed, and I don't know if they ever will address it, but Baylan in general, what is he? He's clearly not Sith. He's clearly not Jedi. And the fact that he actually kept his word to Sabine, that's like, okay, what are you? Are you
right?
Which I think kind of reinforces the idea that, for me at least, I think he's basically, he's not trying to be Luke Skywalker, because he probably doesn't even know who Luke Skywalker is, but I think he is trying to form the next generation of Jedi. It's just in a very different light.
Yeah, really? Okay. Yeah, that was one thing I was thinking about talking about, but I wanted to kind of maybe get 1 more or 2 more episodes in. Like, what is what is his intent? Because it doesn't seem like he's, like you said, he's not Sith. He's not trying to take over the galaxy.
Yeah.
He's not a Jedi unless he is a Jedi and he's thinking this is, because that would make sense with what he says. Something like, what didn't he say? Something like, you have to destroy everything in order to rebuild or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. But I don't know. But it's been destroyed. I mean, the Jedi Order has been gone for a long time. So I don't know what other step you need.
Well, maybe for him, it's the Republic needs to completely be destroyed in order for the best new Republic to be built versus just building something on top of ashes. I mean, maybe that's his point of view.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that could be it. I do question like where, like how he found Shin and where she came from.
Zach thinks she's his daughter.
Oh, really?
Because they could be related.
Huh.
I don't know. That would be interesting. Maybe he was, or she was a youngling that he was able to protect.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, a couple of points I wrote down. One, I was wondering, and it came true. I was like, I think it'd be really neat to see Hu Yang fight.
I was so happy. Although my first thought was, he's dead.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get damaged badly.
Yeah, but no.
Also, but
he still got.
He held his own.
He still has it.
Yes.
Dang.
Yes, he does. So that was really cool to see. Okay, so what about, let's just get it out of the way. What about Marok?
There's the Band-Aid that we're ripping off.
Marek or Marok?
I don't know anymore.
I think it's Marok, actually.
Now I don't care.
Okay, so Marok turns out to be just Marok.
No, he turns out to be green dust.
Yeah, well, but there's something else there. Now, I don't know if you saw any theories, but what's your theory on what the heck that was?
I think it's what you said when we did our reaction videos for Patreon. I think it was the Night Sister bringing back someone from the dead. Because I got nothing else at this point. Like, nothing else, especially for the reaction of, like, I was really hoping that they would fall to the ground, the helmet would come off, and we'd see who it was. I was so hoping for that. But no. Apparently, Thanos snapped his fingers and they just dusted away. So, I got nothing. What are the I haven't seen any theories, but what do you think and what theories have you seen?
Well, I've seen. Well, obviously, I think it has to do something with her being a Night Sister, because it does look like somebody that was resurrected, and you've seen those movies before, where even in, like you just talked about the MCU, even I think in some of those, some Death Walker gets killed and it turns into dust. I think it's along those lines. I think this Inquisitor got resurrected, and it's basically a dead man walking. Mm-hmm. And Ahsoka's lightsaber killing it just made it wither away. Now, so that's the theories I've heard, is that it's a Night Sister curse or a Night Sister resurrection or something like that Marok has been. So that's, I don't know other way to explain it besides that.
But that is also very credible as well, because if you read in Jedi Battle Scars, we see that Mirren actually has this ability to raise the dead.
That's right.
It takes a lot out. She does many people at once, so it takes a lot out of her, like you would in a video game if you needed more recharge on specific powers that you used. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that that's all Marok
Right.
was.
Yeah, but how disappointed at all?
Yes,
That
majorly.
yeah, I'm a little disappointed too.
I was like, oh,
But it's not surprising. Again, I think us fans put a lot of unneeded energy into wanting something and making something a little more complicated than it normally is. Because I'm sure half the time they're sitting in the writing room when they're coming up with these things. I'm sure they're like, wow, we're going to make this character and we're going to cause all kinds of people talking about this, but it's just going to be a character that dies and withers away.
you think they honestly like sit and plot like
I
that?
do. I actually think what can cause conversation, what can cause us to, because look at everything that's out there. For weeks, people are like, who is Marok? Marok is Ezra. Marok is Barriss. It causes so much controversy, so much discussion. And in the end, none of it matters. You know what I mean? So, but they got what they wanted. They got the attention. They got people talking about it. They got people researching it. They got people looking into it. It's full marketing. I'm telling you, it's full marketing. Because why would you put a mask on him?
For
right?
suspense.
Exactly.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I feel so deceived. Okay, that is a bit of an exaggeration, but I feel like I got reeled in.
Yes.
I feel like I can't trust. Like this is totally in hyperbole, but I feel like trust has been broken, and now I don't know what to do with myself. Once again, total exaggeration. Like it's not like that at all. But in the moment, you're like, oh, I think I even verbally said, "Oh, come on," like or something like that.
Probably yes. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway.
Well, there was something too, wasn't there? I was trying to think of. There was something in Mandalorian. I think that was a big controversy for a while. I can't remember what it was, but it ended up being nothing too. But, yeah, it's like that. It's like we put this. We have a tendency of reading into it a lot more than we will, because as fans, we just want certain things to work out the way we want them to, and
that's true.
But that's not at all what they're just trying to tell the best story they can, and not always involves what we want.
Watch next time they do this, all of us are gonna be like, oh, it's just a faceless wonder, and all of a sudden it's gonna be, I don't know, like
very significant.
Yes. They survived the fall from the tower, and all of us are like, what?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
That's what's going to happen next time.
That's exactly right. So, Marok is just Marok. We get Carson back, Carson Teva.
That was very cool.
That's been in The Mandalorian. First couple seasons of Mandalorian.
I was so hoping when we saw him that Zep was going to be one of the X-Wing fighter pilots.
Oh yeah. Actually, that would have been really cool.
As soon as I saw Carson,
think about that.
Is Zep here? Is Zep here? Is Zep here? Like, he wasn't.
Yeah, that would have been really cool, or at least some other recognizable. At this point, well, no, we're far removed. I was about to say. I don't know if you can put. Can you? I don't know if Snap Wexley is he's young. Well, actually, no. It's about 5 years later now. So he was a teenager in Aftermath, I think.
Yeah.
So you could have a young Snap Wexley.
That would have been cool.
Even if he's in this at all. Yeah. So great lightsaber battles. I think we saw enough action between the two. Well, there was kind of three of them. You had Sabine and Shin, and you had Murak and Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka and Balin. Which Balin, force, like powerful strikes.
Amazing. That was such a great fight. That was incredible.
Yeah. It was very much like what you would see, in my opinion, like two old school knights, like in the medieval times, that are just sizing each other up and then just wailing on each other.
Insane.
Because it wasn't like, we haven't seen, obviously since the prequels, like we haven't seen that type of lightsaber fighting where it's just so action oriented, movement, a lot quick movements, turns, twists, finesse with the saber, and you don't really see any of that right now. And you, I don't know why you would, because a lot of these people haven't fought in a long time, and Luke wasn't really trained that way anyway, so his style wasn't going to be like that. But they're fighting, and Ahsoka's very patient in a way, that she fights. But anyway, it was really good.
Well, actually, so in Rise of the Red Blade, they explain why sometimes before a battle, especially between two Jedi or two lightsaber wielding forces, they do take their time if they choose to, and if they've been trained to do so, they take their time before starting. Because what they do is they reach out in the Force to get a sense of who is my opponent, how do they fight, what is their strategy, what is the current energy I'm getting off of them, what do I think based off of that they're going to do first,
right?
And then they go. It's very interesting.
Very cool. Yeah, very interesting. Very cool. So Anakin. Showing up. Yes. Big rumors that Hayden was going to be a part of this series.
Yes.
So obviously that's true. Going into this episode, I saw a bunch of articles and rumors that episode 5, next week, part 5, is a game changer. Now you can interpret that many ways. You can interpret game changer being, oh, you're just blown away, you're floored by what the episode contains and what they talk about. But game changer also could mean that they actually change something. There's something in canon, there's something in storyline, or something that changes the direction of Star Wars. Now, they're in the world between worlds, I guess. I mean, it looks exactly like the world between worlds. When you watch this episode in Rebels, that when Ezra's in the world between worlds, it's not surprising that what you hear in there, right? You hear Jedi from across the timeline. You even got Rey's voice in there, which technically happens in the future. You can hear Kanan, you can hear Obi-Wan, you can hear Yoda. So, and I think even Anakin maybe, but this is different. This is we're seeing a physical form in the world between worlds that does not exist anymore, except in the Force, right? So I don't know. What do you have any thinking of? Is Ahsoka passed out? Is she dead? Is there like some hidden portal off that cliff that takes her there? Because all we know about this is that you have to access some kind of portal.
Yeah.
To get here.
I have no idea, man. I like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, what? And I mean, I think like this was a happy accident for you, but if I remember correctly, you and your daughter Sam, you guys watched World Between Worlds right before watching Ahsoka.
No, we watched. I showed her after we watched this.
Oh, after. But still, like, that's a great comparison between the two. And there's no doubt that's where she is. But, and it's so weird. Like, maybe there was a hidden portal. Like, that's the thing I'm leaning towards most. And going back to what you said about game changer, based on what happened to Merrick or Maroc, maybe they're just saying it's a game changer to kind of bring hype about it. And it turns out it's not that big of a game changer. But I mean, who knows? She could be sent back to the past to help change something. She could be sent to where Sabine is right now on her way to get Thrawn. She could be dead, and suddenly all we're dealing with is this Force ghost Ahsoka. You know, like the thing about the World Between Worlds that's been established is you can mess with time.
Yes.
So that leaves so many possibilities open.
Yes.
And so I don't think you can rightfully predict what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know if you have a prediction, but I literally can't. There are so many different ways that this could go.
It can, yeah. And I think what's throwing me off is because so she hears Anakin say, "Hey, Snips," right? That's the first thing he says. And then he says, I wasn't expecting to see you so soon.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't expect to see you so soon. So it's not, it rules out in a way. Because again, when I see this and I've seen that episode of Rebels, we're told then that it seemed like the only way in is through portals.
Okay.
Right? The portal that Ezra went through was surrounded by wolves, right?
Right.
And so he went through the Temple of the Thought. Now, somehow, I don't know how this was explained either, Palpatine knew they were in there.
Which is really weird.
Really weird. So he's trying to get in, right? It doesn't seem like he can just walk through the portal. He almost has to bring Ezra to get him in. Just like how he pulled Ahsoka out, right? But it was weird because Ahsoka's not like she was fighting and saw Ezra looking at her.
Yeah.
But Palpatine somehow could see them, right? For wherever he was. We don't really know yet where he was. So that's a big question mark for me in a way. Like, how does he know about it, and why can't he get in and stuff like that? So what I mean by that is, if your only thought was that you have to enter this way through a portal or be brought into this, seeing a physical form Anakin, at first I kind of thought, well, is he there also? Because like you said, time doesn't matter. So like prior to him turning evil, did he find a portal and go through, and he's there at the same time? But then that doesn't make sense with what he says. Like he says, I didn't expect to see you so soon. That sounds like she died.
Yeah. It also doesn't make sense with him being in Ghost Force form.
Oh, he's not in Ghost Force form. What do you mean?
He's glowing blue.
No, he's not.
He's not?
No.
Did I hallucinate that?
He's like normal color.
I thought he was glowing blue.
Oh, no. He's not Ghost. He's not Force Ghost Anakin. He's like Episode 3 Anakin.
Okay, now I don't know what to think anymore. Everything I've known is a lie.
So that would have been partially my thought, was that he found his way to the World Between Worlds. So he's definitely not blue. He's just he just has his normal Episode 3 garb on.
No, maybe I thought he was blue because he has a blue does he have a scar?
See, I don't see the scar.
Oh,
He is supposed to have a scar on his eye.
no,
right?
he has a scar. He has a scar.
He does have the scar? Okay.
Yeah.
I can't really.
No, but you could argue that's a bluish tint.
Okay, he has a bluish tint just because there's blue around, but his whole body would be blue. And somewhat transparent, right? They have a transparency to them.
Yeah,
you can kind of see through them.
So, wait.
He's definitely not a Force ghost.
Wait.
I wish y'all could see her on the video right now for those listening. What? That's why we do this. We talk things out like this and kind of come out with these like crazy ideas. So that's at first when I first saw this, I'm like, wait a minute. So is it a deceased Anakin, or is this a guy that found his way into the world between worlds that we don't know about before he turns to Vader? Now, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case because that would be, like you said, and Ahsoka would then, why wouldn't Ahsoka try to convince him not to turn to Vader when he goes back to his...
He would have seen that he became Vader. Like...
So I don't think that's the case. I think this is a deceased Anakin that's living in the cosmic force, and somehow he's manifest himself into the image of Anakin that Ahsoka would recognize. Because you remember, this is Ahsoka years later, so if this was really Anakin, I don't even know if he would. I'm sure he would recognize her, but this is not the young Snips that he knows, right? So
my brain hurts.
I am ruling that out. I think he's just the cosmic force Anakin.
But you just said he wasn't glowing blue.
Well, he's not, because maybe in this form, this area, he's not glowing. He only glows when he's maybe, in the real world, in the living force part. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. That hurt your head?
My head hurts. What is going on? Okay.
But thinking back again to the Baylan Ahsoka fight.
Yes.
When he swings and knocks her off, the shot, cuts to behind him looking over the cliff. So he's watching her fall.
Right.
But it doesn't seem like he's there long enough to see her land.
I feel like she probably would have landed by the time he looked over. So I wonder if the portal was under the water.
Well, that's the thing. Did she fall in the water, or did she fall? Because there's a little, there's a big cliff, and then there is like a little beach area right there. So
did we hear a splash?
You don't hear a splash. You don't hear anything. I mean, he just, she falls. And he literally sees her fall. Sabine yells, then he just kind of turns and just walks towards Sabine. So to him, I feel like what he thinks he saw, or whatever, he saw her fall to her death.
Yeah.
And then he turns and just tries to, take care of Sabine. So did he see her fall into the water, or did he see her land? Because, again, when you fast forward to the end where the shore is there, actually the waters go right up to the cliff. Yeah, so there are some big rocks at the bottom there, but she easily could have just fell in the water. So I think you're right. To him, she probably just fell in the water. So he doesn't know whether or not she's dead or not. He just knows that she's not going to interfere anymore right now.
I was about to say, I don't think he even cares if she lives or dies.
No, you're right. I think you're right. So the question becomes, yes, is there a portal right there, or is she dead and some reason she ended up? And maybe that's the thing, what we don't know. Here's another thing I was thinking. What we don't know is when you do die, is that where you go? Or at least Jedi, maybe. you know,
Yeah.
or people that are strong with the Force, or maybe that's where you go, and that's where you join with the cosmic Force, and eventually, if you had your training, you can come back as a Force ghost. But
Maybe
this would be kind of the second time she dies.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't kill her.
Because she's got to come back. I mean,
As a Force ghost, maybe.
but I think my theory, to be honest, my theory is probably that she is dying.
Yeah.
And Anakin kind of sends her back. It's like one of those things.
That's probably
we see it a lot. Yeah.
It's a very popular trope.
It is.
Not a bad one, but it's one that's been used a lot.
But then I keep going back to this whole like game changer episode next week.
As I said, maybe it's another Marek.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
I will now overthink every single choice that Disney makes and be like, oh no, that's not anything groundbreaking. It just is what it is.
But see, I think some of that you can expect from Filoni just because he's a fan like us.
Yeah, that's true.
And he wants to see things. He keeps saying, I see it in interviews all the time. He keeps saying, I'm a fan. I want to see certain things, but I have to consider the story. I have to consider, even though I want to see this, I have to consider whether or not it makes sense to do that. And that's got to take some discipline.
Yeah.
Because, as a fan, you want certain things to happen, even though it doesn't really matter. But it matters to you because you want to see this happen, or you want to see this character do this.
I will say this. I do prefer Marek being nothing over the theory that I saw that he was a clone of Kanan.
Yes, I did hear that one too. Yep.
I do prefer him be a no name instead of the clone of Kanan. I never understood that theory.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Okay, anyway, big episode coming next week. We're gonna, I feel like, get a lot. I tell you, one prediction I have about next week is that I don't think we're going to see, man, I don't know. That's going to be hard. But a part of me is like, I don't think we are going to see the result of where they go to in the next episode.
Yeah, I feel like...
I think this is going to be almost all Anakin and Ahsoka.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
I would agree with you on that one.
Could be a little bit of Hera, maybe, like trying to figure out how to get there, but
no, I think we're going to see that in episode 6. Episode 7, we see where they left off in their search for Grand Admiral Thrawn, and then we finally see him in episode 8.
Oh, so you don't think we see Thrawn till 8?
I think that'll be the final shot.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to... Yeah, I do agree with that in a sense, I don't think we're going to get like a big fight between Thrawn and the good guys or anything like that. I think this is a full setup. Yeah. But if this whole thing's about Anakin and Ahsoka, and they're looking at these different portals in the world between worlds, I mean, that is going to be crazy to see.
We shall see.
Okay, let's see, releases coming up. So the High Republic Tales of Light and Life, which are a collection of short stories, that just came out this past week. Of course, you got Crimson Climb next month. November, you got start of Phase 3 with The Eye of Darkness. Tales of Enlightenment comes out December, and then Phase 3 ends March 12th with Defy the Storm. You had Star Wars 38 and Dark Droids 2 in the comic come out this past week. Next week, Vader 38, Obi-Wan Kenobi #1, which is based off the Disney Plus series. On the 20th, Bounty Hunters 38, Dark Droids D Squad #1. And then the end of the month, Dr. Aphra 36 and Mandalorian season 2, number 4. Okay, we've been theming our shows these past few months. First month we were talking leading up to Ahsoka. It was kind of the Jedi kind of themed. And then we did Ahsoka this past month with the premiere. Right now, I kind of want to this month we're going to dive a little bit more into the New Republic. Even though we don't really know much about it, there has been a lot of it in publication form, but not really in, the only thing we've gotten in live action, obviously, are the shows. Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and Ahsoka. But there still hasn't been a lot about the actual New Republic.
Yes.
With Mandalorian, it's all like him wandering around on the underworld, and then you've got the remnants of the Empire with Moff Gideon, and then in Book of Boba Fett, you got more underworld stuff with the Hutts and the Pikes, and then you've got Ahsoka now, which is starting to bring it in. We got Mon Mothma finally, and that whole thing. Now, it was the thing about the New Republic, though, in this early stage. One thing I know we've talked about a lot, Hannah, is the war didn't end at Return of the Jedi. The war lasted another whole year before it finally concluded on the Battle of Jakku. And so there are some great books out there, the Aftermath series, that really highlights that journey and what it took to finally supposedly get rid of the Empire for good. Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing we do know, based on the Aftermath series and based on the books that came out, the Alphabet Squadron that took place as well. Once they signed the treaty that officially ended the Civil War, one of Mon Mothma, and then Mon Mothma got, elected chancellor or whatever. Not elect. I don't think she was really elected. I think she was just appointed. But the one thing they did was they created the Senate, basically, or whatever, created this Military Disarmament Act, which means they basically started, dismantling all of the military ships.
Yeah.
Right? Because they didn't feel like they wanted this, I don't know, this. They didn't want, I feel like they didn't want to seem like the Empire.
Right.
So they got rid of they started, decommissioning all their stuff, which ultimately cost them in the end, because we know kind of how that turns out, right? With the sequel trilogy and whatnot. Yeah. So anyway, my big question that I hope we get an answer sometime, and I've been wondering this a long time, especially ever since we started seeing glimpses of Luke around, is I still don't understand why. Maybe they did, but why didn't Mon Mothma especially ask Luke to start the Jedi Order and be part of the Republic?
I think I have an answer for that.
Okay.
So, if we look at the time that takes place between Palpatine's, and I'm saying this from the point of view of the outside world, not from the Jedi. Mm-hmm. Palpatine's attempted assassination by the Jedi. Not a lot, comparatively to other events, not a lot of time has passed. It's been maybe like 18, 19 years, something like that. 20
between 3 and 4. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, between 3 and 4. That's a lot of time for people to get used to the idea that the Jedi are bad. And I don't care if Luke, helped end the Sith and cause the dominoes to start falling for the end of the war. People are still going to think that Jedi aren't good. they're still going to think they tried to because as far as they're aware, the rebels are what saved the Empire or saved the Republic. Mm-hmm. The rebels took down the Empire. They're not thinking, oh, a Jedi took them down. No, the rebels took them down.
Interesting. Mm-hmm.
So I think because of that, Mon Mothma is very, and of course she's been in the government, like she's very aware of how people feel. So I think for her, I mean, even if you like think about everything that's happened, I don't think once somebody like declared, oh, we have a Jedi in our midst. Like nobody ever said that. It wasn't like they were trying to keep it a secret, but they weren't trying to advertise it. So I think because of that, I think Mon Mothma purposely didn't ask Luke to do this because she knew the Republic needed to warm up to the idea of Jedi again. The Republic wasn't ready. That was too much change in too short of a time. Mm-hmm. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I do like that. I think I agree with the galaxy, the citizens, definitely not aware of the truth of what happened with the Jedi. Only a few do. But Mothma is one of those that knows the truth.
Right, but once again, you're asking for people to change a lot.
Yeah, and I guess that goes back to a question I've always had too, is when was it ever publicly told to people that Palpatine was actually the evil one? That he actually is the one that started all of this?
I think so, because the fact that Poe's like, oh, it's Palpatine, he's back again or whatever, I think eventually it was shared, but I feel like if I was Mon Mothma, the strategic thing to do would be to let go of the truth. Like, you're purposely not hiding it. If people ask you, obviously tell them. But you don't, but you give the truth in bite sizes. Mm-hmm. You slowly help correct history.
Yeah.
So that people aren't overwhelmed. Like that's just my own personal opinion and what I would do.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think, that's one thing I think it would be neat to see, because we've seen what we've seen in The Mandalorian, especially, was how truly some Imperials felt about the changeover and being, what do they call it? When you go through therapy and you try to change somebody, like reconditioned, right?
Right.
Trying to be reconditioned into, don't think about the Imperial way anymore. Think about the New Republic way. And there were a lot, as we're seeing now too, there were a lot that resisted that, right? They still think that the Empire was the better government and that they got overthrown. Even so, it'd be interesting to hear, which I don't believe we've heard from any of these former Imperials, that even though they know Palpatine was evil, they still believe in the Empire. You know what I mean? Like, are they loyal to the Empire, or are they loyal to Palpatine, or both? It's like you can. You know what I mean?
That's a really good question, because, you could point it to political parties where people who are Republicans may not like Trump, but they still support the Republican Party, or people who didn't like Clinton, but they still supported the Democratic Party. So, and I'm not calling anybody evil here. I'm just using that as a, as a sample in today's world. But, that does lead an interesting thing, because did people honestly think that Palpatine was evil, or did they just think he was true, like he had all the best intentions and he was truly helping create a new era of the Empire? And I'm sure you had a mix of both.
I think you did, because he did a good job of manipulating and hiding. Like he wasn't publicly out there. he hid in his Sith temple, which ended up was the former Jedi Council, but he kind of hid in that tower. He let the governors kind of run the galaxy, and obviously Vader was there and Tarkin was there to enforce the fear in people. And so he was out of the limelight, and and like you said, people thought he was nearly killed by the Jedi. So I think there was a lot of people that obviously didn't think he was evil all these years, and then maybe now they're being told that he was, and that could be it too. Like you said, like maybe some people would probably think, well, I don't believe that because the Empire was good to me, or they don't care because the Empire was good to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's true. I think that's true in many ways. So anyway, I thought that it was interesting to kind of talk about a little bit of the formation of it and the struggles I think that it seems like they're having, because I think a lot of us fans, again, at the end of Return of the Jedi, even though it wasn't the end of the war, but then even after the Battle of Jakku, you would think, oh, okay, now everybody's at peace and everybody's happy. I mean, we're 5-6 years later, and no, that's not the case. There's a lot of people, former Imperials, that are still kind of resisting. Now they're the resistance, right? So it's this endless back and forth battle, which is Star Wars.
Life.
That's right. All right. So anyway, we'll talk more about the New Republic in the coming weeks as we wrap our reviews of Ahsoka.
Yep.
4 more episodes of that. Let's see. I think we had Thrawn Addict on our last episode. He says, great discussion. Love it when you both go way into certain topics with discussing theories and working out timelines. I enjoyed episode 3 of Ahsoka. A bit too short, and I don't like these 30-minute Disney Plus episodes they do for a lot of Star Wars and Marvel shows. I need at least 45 minutes each episode, in my opinion. I think they did manage to get a lot into this short episode, though. Love the training scene with Sabine and Hu Yang with his General Grievous arms. I thought it was very clever with Hu Yang showing her where she was striking on the holographic lightsabers. Mm-hmm. Hera's scene with Mon Mothma and the other senators was interesting. From what I remember in the Aftermath and Alphabet Squadron books, the New Republic was always reluctant military-wise and wanted to destabilize army. So this scene keeps consistent with which I liked, which is what we just talked about. I also loved Hera. I love Hera's "Did you fight in the war" line? Yes, very cool. I agree. Mothman looked more like Andor timeline, but think that might be more that they got her to quick scene while she was shooting Andor season 2. Or in between, rather than her being more regal looking. Yeah, that's absolutely possible. Yeah, more than likely, when she was filming that scene, she wasn't even looking at anybody. Like they probably filmed that differently than with Hera. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I thought all the action scenes was fun and a lot of callbacks to New Hope with the gun turret. I know a lot of people had issues with Ahsoka fighting in space scene, but I feel like it's been in Rebels and Clone Wars, so not a logical stretch for me. I know this episode didn't have any wow moments, but I think it's leading up to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
We still have a lot more to go with Thrawn, Ezra, maybe Anakin in some form. I think the build-up will make the wow moments bigger. Lastly, I hope the Inquisitor is not Ezra, but if it has to be somebody of note, I have no clue who it can be that would make sense to the story and that casual fans would get. Thanks again. May the Force be with you. So,
yeah, Thrawn Addict actually brings up a really excellent point, and that's something I did notice in this show. Never once have I been like, oh, obvious exposition here. They've been doing a really good job of giving that exposition, that backstory, without making it feel like they're waving a huge flag saying exposition.
Right. Yeah.
So that is a good point.
Let me look at I thought I saw some comments in the group. But our new patron, Dark S&M, mentioned, he said this on our Patreon, actually. He says, sorry for the crassness, but Marak equals a Night Sister fart captured in an Inquisitor suit and given a voice. Maybe they should have also supplied him with a patch kit for air mattresses. Nice. Very nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really good. That's good. Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Oh, man. Let's see. No, I think that was a comment from... That was from something else. Okay, so there you go. All right, episode 5 or part 5 of Ahsoka coming next week. Hope you enjoyed listening to us talking about it. Go to our YouTube channel. We got a new the Beyond the Saga we just posted. Hannah and I getting back into that, and we did the Vader series, the Vader comic series, the second volume of that takes place right after episode 3, because because of Marak. We were talking about Inquisitors. You just finished Rise of the Red Blade. This comic starts the Inquisitor series. So anyway, it's a lot to tie in there, but it's an awesome series. So we'll continue doing that. We got some other novels and books that we're going to cover here soon on that. Of course, keep there to find other shows that we've got, Council Sessions and Masters of the Order, Dark Knowledge, and things like that. So, of course, thank you again to our patrons. And if you're interested in joining there, go check it out. Check the tiers out. And we love all you guys, and thank you for supporting the show. Hannah, thank you for joining me. Good discussions.
Thank you very much, Dave. Good discussions indeed.
Yes. See you next week. We will be here talking about episode 5, of course, on Patreon. You're gonna see our reaction right after the episode, which this one might be pretty crazy, or it could be nothing, like you said. Yeah,
it could be a Merrick episode.
That's right. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. May the Force be with you.